Kevin Vuong is a Member of Parliament for Spadina, Fort York in downtown Toronto. He joins me now because I want to put the question to you. Kevin, you've been a Member of Parliament watching this government. You're an independent. You also know the law. Is this government a fair government, a just government? Is it treating Canadian citizens the way it should?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, what we've seen is the law is selectively applied to some individuals. And no better example than, I think, the protest, the hateful mob that we've seen across the streets of Toronto and across Canada.
Right.
Where our hate laws are not being upheld. They're being selectively applied only to some communities.
So if, and I understand you're talking about the protesters. So if those protesters against whatever they perceive going on in Gaza, if they were conservatives, truckers, Christians or Jews, my point is on that one, I agree with you, they'd probably put a slammer very fast.
Exactly. We have over 100 churches across Canada that have been the target of arson, firebombing, and worse. And where is the national crisis, the national inquiry, the national task force? We have synagogues being shot up. Where is the national task force?
But I mean, not everybody in the Liberal government can be blind to this. I mean, the Prime Minister, I know with those churches, was saying, well, that's sort of fair game, and which was, I think, irresponsible and wrong. But why is there nobody in this government standing up and saying, we have to apply the law fairly? That's the way it should be.
That's a good question. I ask that, I feel, pretty regularly, where I'm sitting there listening during question period and the debates and the questions and the answers, and it's like, what happened to fair, equal application of law to everyone? We have to be equal before the law, otherwise it's not worth the paper it's written on.
And are there other MPs, either in other parties or like you, independent, who are putting this to the government and they're just sort of laughing it off?
I think the official opposition, the Conservative Party of Canada, have been strong advocates for the rule of law, and I know they've been doing their best to fight for accountability and transparency, I guess, with the endless stream of scandals.
Well, which is why I'm glad you're here today and to put that out there, because we need to put these kind of points of view out, which you will not see in the mainstream media. Again, let's just talk about media on that. Why won't you see those kind of views in media? I mean, you get some media, but not what you should.
That's a good question. I think when you look at who ultimately funds media, right now the subsidies, it unfortunately creates this conflict where mainstream media, if they were truly to hold the government to account, they would also be biting the hand that feeds them, which they rely on to actually be financially sustainable. And that's, I think, fundamentally broken.
People like to be fed. Kevin Vuong, thanks very much. 3 minutes. This show provides independent analysis of the issues. We are not paid by the government. And as I am finding, so much business in Canada relies upon various governments that they don't want to sponsor or advertise on a show which may become controversial, which talks about liberty, freedoms, sometimes criticizes government. I've had guests on that support the government. But people are saying, you know what? We don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, i.e. government, which is why I hope you'll subscribe and contribute to keep this show on the air.